Hi guys, welcome back to another farming video. Today I'm going to show you how you can make an efficient potato or carrot farm for Minecraft 1.14.3. I will later make a tutorial how you can build this farm, but since it took me several hours to end up with this design right here, I'll guide you through the process and talk about some of the challenges I had to overcome. Let's talk about potato and carrot farms in general for Minecraft 1.14. They're not quite as interesting as in older versions anymore. In older versions, trading potatoes, carrots, and pumpkins was the best way to get emeralds from the villagers. Now in 1.14, there are other alternatives, for example, making fish farms and trade with the fishermen, but trading potatoes and carrots is still a viable way to get a lot of emeralds by trading. It has the advantage that you don't need to rely on any mob spawning like for the fish farm, for example. So that's why potato and carrot farms are still viable. Unfortunately, the old designs got broken, and yeah, we had to come up with new ones. The first change, of course, is that the farmer villager now requires a workspace, and the range of the farmer also got reduced by a lot. While in older versions, one farmer could farm about 1,000 carrots per hour, this number got reduced by quite a bit. Alright, so I wanted to make a new farm because I had an idea, or just wanted to try out an idea yesterday to not have crops growing on all the potential spaces where they could, because if you have a crop on a diagonal of another crop, so basically if you have one here and one sitting right here, then the growth speed is halved. So if we keep carrots, potatoes in a row like this, then you would grow twice as fast. But since you only have half as much, it's not really efficient. I just wanted to try it out to see if maybe also the farmer would now, if he only has carrots in his inventory, would only try to harvest carrots and plant new ones. So I actually had carrots, potatoes, carrots in between. So this way I was hoping by having two villages in there that work on different crops, we could maybe increase efficiency, but that didn't work out. Alright, but that got me interested in this type of farm. And the next thing I tried, I wanted to find the ideal size for the potato and carrot farm. And it turned out this is about the range where a villager can farm crops. Making it any larger resulted in the villager not placing any seeds on the outside. The automatic villager potato and carrot farms still work similar to the old versions. So we got one worker villager here, the farmer that harvests carrots, also places new ones, and then sometimes shares his items with this villager here. We just intercept the sharing of the items, or kind of steal it with the hopper minecart here, so all the items that are thrown across don't reach the other villager, and just collect it with a hopper minecart, and then we can put it into our storage system. This farm right here is already quite efficient. As you can see, it's not symmetrical, because I had the issue that if the recipient villager is too far away from the farmer villager's workstation, which definitely should be in the middle, then the farmer villager was visiting the recipient villager less frequently. And I ran a couple hour tests, and the rates were significantly lower. Didn't even get half as much as if the villager is 2 blocks closer towards the middle. So it's definitely a good idea to do that, but I also found a workaround in order to make the farm symmetrical again. Another issue that right now we can't really see it was over a long time test, so I did a lot of tick warping to run the game a bit quicker to see what happens, is that the carrots on the left, so the side which is furthest away from the other villager, weren't harvested as frequently as the other carrots. I tried to combat the issue by placing a bed here on this side. So the idea was that the farmer villager would have to travel to this side in order to sleep at night, and then maybe also harvest some of the carrots on this side. But I did not notice any significant change when it came to the rates. So I don't think it's really necessary to provide a bed for the villager. But there's another way how we could influence the day-night cycle of the farmer villager. It's using a meeting point in form of a bell. So the farmer villager at certain times would pathfind towards the bell, and then also at those times interact with the other villager and share food. So when I did that, moving the recipient villager 2 blocks further out, did not have any disadvantage, and it seemed like the farm was also a bit more efficient. I did a lot of testing, about 50 hours worth of testing, and it seemed like this farm with the bell was about 5 to 10% more efficient than the other design. Not really significant, but it seems like it's definitely not a bad idea to use a bell here. So this is our basic farm design. Of course, we also have to provide some water sources to hydrate the farmland. Unhydrated farmland would result in the crops growing slower, and also over time would be converted to dirt. And of course, we also need to provide light so the crops can also grow at night. So one of those cells with a pair of villagers would produce about 350 carrots per hour. Also a similar amount of potatoes. Of course, the next question is, can we stack this on top of each other? Generally it does work, but here I ran into the issue that for some reason the farm would produce 80% less items per hour. I later found out why. I tried to put the hopper minecart here on top of a slab, so I can also suck out items from the hopper above. But as it later turns out, for some reason this doesn't work, and resulted in the loss of 80% of the items. But yeah, when I was done with this stackable design here, I was thinking about that we actually waste a lot of space here on the right of the recipient villager. We could definitely surround this villager with more cells from 4 sides, so in total the amount of villagers would go down. So I ended up with this design right here, and it was now just a question if there would be some weird effects again, and for some reason it wouldn't be as efficient as 4 of those small cells built a couple of blocks apart from each other. But fortunately we get almost exactly 4 times as many items with this design right here, so this definitely has the advantage that it uses fewer villagers. The main lag causer of the villager crop farm is of course the villagers, especially 1.14 with the new AI. That's why it's really beneficial to keep the amount of villagers low. Now we have 5 villagers and they would produce as much as the single cells with 8 villagers. I also tried removing the dividing walls between the villagers. The idea was to use fewer blocks and get more farmland blocks, and maybe also the villagers could help each other out. Like for example, here in this case, a lot of carrots have grown in that region, so they maybe could harvest it quicker. But what that led to was that the villagers, the farmer villagers, would now also interact with each other. Don't tell Jeff Bezos, the worker villagers interacting with each other resulted in a 50% loss of efficiency. So that's why I put the dividing walls back again. The only social interactions are now with the villager in the middle again. The last thing I was able to do was reduce the amount of hoppers and hopper minecarts for the large cell from 4 hoppers and 4 hopper minecarts to 1 hopper and 2 hopper minecarts. So now the villager in the middle is standing inside of 2 hopper minecarts, and this works as well. Also the items are transported through the middle of the farm, so the villager is standing on a hopper and actually also some carpet on top of the hopper, which prevents the villager from sinking in, and this way the items are transported through the middle to the bottom here. One issue that I had when placing a villager directly on top of a hopper was that the villager could sink into the hopper like this. And when the villager was a bit lower, then the farmer villagers weren't able to share their crops reliably. Somehow the rates went down again. That's why I decided to put a carpet on top of the hopper and the villager on top of that. But that led to, of course, the problem that the carpet I actually had on the outside in order to hold the minecart in wasn't enough anymore. I needed something higher. That's why I decided to use trapdoors instead, in order to also keep the second minecart in. So basically we need 2 minecarts on top of each other so they can suck out the items basically from the hopper above. Okay, then another issue I had when I did that was that I couldn't place the hopper facing downwards anymore, because now the villager is standing on carpet, and if I did not place the hopper before, I couldn't do that afterwards, at least not facing down. So if I tried it, for example, place the hopper downwards facing, it doesn't work. But interestingly, the hopper facing towards the side can be placed. And since this is fine, the hopper doesn't really need to point downwards, since the hopper minecarts already suck out the items. This does work. And it's then stackable every 3 blocks. So in total we got 20 of those smaller cells here. So we would expect if we get 350 items per hour times 27,000 items per hour, and that's also the case. I did a 10-hour test and got exactly 7,000 carrots per hour. Right, the rates now stack up linearly with this farm design. So in case you just want a smaller farm, single cell, then you get 350 items per hour. You could also just build 2 of those, then you get about 700, for 4 of those 1400, then you can also stack them on top of each other to get even more. So here we would get about 7,000 items per hour. We're approaching really the limit of the amount of items that one hopper could transfer. You could also build an alternative design here in the middle, which uses 4 hoppers. So then you could stack a lot more of those farms on top of each other. So instead of transferring everything through the middle, just use the 4 hopper minecarts again and have a hopper tower on all of the 4 sides. And basically have a hopper here. Then we don't need the carpet in the middle anymore, and also not the hopper for the villager. Just put him on the normal block, put the hopper minecart here on top, and yeah, send it to this tower, here the next tower, and so on. This way you could transfer 36,000 items per hour through the middle. Right, it really depends how large you want to. But of course, since it's Minecraft 1.14, lag will become an issue rather quick if you make this too large. So with my computer, this setup right here would require about 10% of the computer's performance. Also depends a bit on the daytime. At night, when they're not really doing anything, it's only about 6%. But yeah, compared to the 1.12 numbers, it's still a lot worse. Here you can see the material list, one of those large cells. They would produce 1400 carrots per hour. It's perfect. 2 carrots per 1 piece of dirt per hour. What you can replace is actually was using quartz slabs here. You can also use 60 normal blocks instead. You don't need the quartz slabs. And instead of iron trapdoors, you can also use normal trapdoors. Additionally, you also need 5 villagers and 2 hopper minecarts. Right, now let's begin. The farm from one side to the other is exactly 40 blocks wide. And I think I'm just going to show how to build 1/4. Since the rest is completely symmetrical, you can just mirror it afterwards. Gonna start with the hopper, of course, in the middle. So there we want to put some blocks around. Here on the outside, build it up too high. Then we need some trapdoors. Of course, you could also use the wooden ones if you're short on iron, but I definitely prefer the iron ones since you can't accidentally open them. In the middle, I also want to place down a carpet for the villager to stand on. Then of course we need the second set of trapdoors on top. And we can already put in the hopper minecarts. Do it all in one go. Put in 2 hopper minecarts. Just place them on rails. Break the blocks and let them drop down. Right, then next we need some dirt. Gonna use farmland immediately. Of course you need to place down the dirt and hoe it afterwards. You have the water source. Okay, here we're gonna go out 3 blocks. This end is also 3 wide. Then we place down the next trapdoor, which we waterlock. In case you build it actually on flat ground, then of course you don't need the trapdoor. Put water in. Then another 4 blocks, and here we can put a composter on it. Yeah, we don't need another water source. The other 4 are enough. I think here this farm actually put another water source down here, but it's not required. The rest already covers it. Okay, then 4 blocks, trapdoor, waterlock it, and another 4 blocks. Then here from the middle we go out 4 blocks to both sides as well. Trapdoor, then another 4 blocks. Okay, you can also waterlock it. And then you just want to connect the ends. So just go over diagonally. And fill in the area in the middle. Okay, then we want to get the composter, place it here in the middle, and now let's get our light sources, glowstone, sea lanterns. Of course, you can also use an end rod, it's also possible. Place it here on top of the water sources, in the middle on top of the composter. Then in case you don't have another layer on top or a roof, you want to place a block on top of the glowstone to prevent the villager climbing on top of the glowstone, jumping down, trampling the farmland. And here we definitely need a block on top, since we want to attach the bell here. Alright, then pretty much already done. Of course we want to build up a wall around to prevent zombies from getting inside or the villager running out. Yeah, I think you get the idea. Just do this all around, and then we're pretty much done. So you want to put in all 4 farmer villagers, or just 1 farmer villager if you only build a quarter, and then the one in the middle last. The one in the middle last to prevent him from stealing the workstation. Then just place a bunch of carrots or throw the farmer villager a stack, and you're ready to go. Hope this video was useful for you. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.